Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. On your screen, you will see the ghost print from my last video where I used the fluid matte medium. And I thought this was too interesting to let go to waste. So I'm going to try to retrieve it. And I noticed my sketch pad, which I've been using for scrap, has an interesting composition. So actually, what I'm going to do is make use of it as a guide. You can find interesting compositions from unlikely places. I know some photographers find them on the street, from street signs or posters on the wall. But this is an example of finding inspiration from odd places. So I have leftover Naples yellow, just a dab. So I'm going to make use of it and okay, that's kind of roughly the layout of the guide. So I will make use of this as a first layer. Let me see if my Sharpie still works. Ink is almost gone. Okay, I'm going to wait until this yellow is dry, and then I will put a layer of Sharpie on. Number one rule, do not mix Sharpies with paint because it's going to mess up the felt tip. Because once the felt tip has been contaminated, it won't write anymore. So it's worth the wait. So I'll be right back. Okay, my little desk fan did its job. So now it will be safe to do some lines. And I'm not pressing, just gently touching the gel plate and letting the pen do its job. As I notice when you use a felt pen, when you press too hard, the ink doesn't flow that well. Now these lines just add texture and movement and interest. This is without adding too much bulk. Okay, now that my lines are down, I have decided I want to use a brilliant blue in the middle. I want to capture this white. I'm gonna try it. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I won't know till I try. And then this is grayish blue on the top and on the bottom. So I will be working my brayer this way to follow the grain of the print. And by the way, I got this somewhat clean by neglect. So I let the paint keep accumulating because it really wouldn't come off. And I said, you know, what the heck, I'm just gonna let it pile up. And then one day in the soaking tub, it just skinned off. It just forms a skin, and then I just pull it and it just comes off. And that was like the least labor intensive way of cleaning. I'm sure there are other ways to clean your brayer, but that was the lazy way. Okay, I'm putting a thin, even layer of paint. And then the excess paint, I am discharging it on my sketch pad. I know you can't see it on camera, but when the paint is thin enough to pick up the ghost, you can see the shadow of the ghost underneath with the reflection. It's just too subtle to pick up on camera, but I just thought I'd mention that. And that's where you need to observe what's going on. Okay. So that's a very thin, very even layer of acrylic paint. So now I will get my paper. This is my favorite Somerset velvet. And so far my registration bars are doing their job. And this tick mark is very helpful. It helps me to center the paper right away without even thinking. So now it just occurred to me, I think jelly plate printing is one of the most demanding on the paper, because you are pulling, every time you pull a layer, you subject the paper to stress. This doesn't happen on a printing press because the press does all the work and pushes the ink onto the paper by virtue of its weight. But in this case, on a gel plate, the image transfers just by manual pressure, and you pull the paper off the plate. And that's where the stress on the paper happens, and that's where the tearing happens if you're not careful. It's just a note crossed my mind. Now, since I'm trying to pick up several layers of marker pen and paint, I will leave this on for about 10 minutes. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. Let's see if it's... I think I'm onto something here. This is the scary part, because as I'm pulling, it makes these scary noises. I'm pulling it from the bottom because I'm scared to tear the paper. So far, so good. Now the white paint looks like a tear, but it's not. It's the white ghost. Okay, it does have some tears. But so far the transfer is very successful. And this is what I mean by putting stress on the paper. It's the force of pulling. But I think the result is so cool. It's just this. In fact, I'm going to fix that now with some Mod Podge. It's good to do the fix right away. So we'll give it time to dry. Oh, here's another tear. And thankfully they're small tears. Okay. Now I will give you a close-up so you can see what was pulled up. It's actually better than I expected. And I did not use the fluid matte medium this time. This is the paint that is straight out of the tube. It's Amsterdam paint. And it even picked up the yellow, Naples yellow, which I'm happy about. So there's always this element of danger of having this messed up and torn up. But so far, so good. So I will let this dry completely and then figure out the next step. Now I have here a mix of cadmium red, light. You could call it a vermilion color, and some water just to loosen it up a little bit. And I will do a series of circles. So I will let this dry. And make it another layer. Okay, these red circles have dried. And I'm going to try something different. I'm going to mix some fluid matte medium with my leftover Naples yellow. And apply it on top of this and see if I can pick up the red. At the same time, I'm going to put some masks or shields on the vacant areas. Not sure if this will work, but it's an experiment. So what I'm hoping to do is these stencils will expose the blue layer underneath. Let's see, here goes. Like I always say, you won't know till you try. Okay. Now take these guys off. I couldn't resist. This is a result of the stress on the paper. It wrinkles the paper because it got pulled very strongly. I wish that wouldn't happen, but either that or the paper will tear. So I'm applying extra pressure with my the heel of my palm. Because it's a stand-in for a printing press, which I don't have. Okay. I'm going to take a peek. I think it's a pretty cool result. I'm glad I didn't wait any longer, because I think the paper would have stuck to the plate. I'm glad that the red offset on the paper. Okay, check this out. So the part that I did not put stencils on, the red markings transferred. And then the part where I did put the stencils on, you have the blue and purple showing underneath. So it's a complex mix of like a hide and seek kind of effect. And this is one of the few instances where the print is so busy that it's not necessary to put any collage to embellish it. I'm happy with this result. It's better than I expected. And it was worth the time to go through my stencils and pick out the right size and the right shape. So thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And thank you, all you viewers, that I am approaching my never dreamed of goal of 4,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time.